So, Mark, did you see this meme? Hangovers are temporary, drunk stories are forever. The story of your life.
Yeah, I was like, This isn't a meme. This is like, a motto to live by." And it goes perfectly with talking about my trip to San Diego in a little bit later in the show. But man, there's how many times have I said I wish I had a GoPro attached to me so I could remember exactly what happened last night.
Too many. So, interesting news this week in the airline space with the approval of Alaska and Hawaii as their merger goes through. We talked about this on a previous show about whether people should speculate and transfer miles to Hawaiian when American Express had that bonus. I want to pat myself on the back because I transferred 375,000 membership rewards to Hawaiian, got my 450,000 Hawaiian miles, which the DOT has now said they have to honor at 1-to-1, meaning that they will transfer to Alaska at 1-to-1. I love when plays like this come together, but also this airline is going to become one.
Yeah, I think it's big news, and the fact that they're saying that you're going to be able to move points from one airline to the other by the end of the month, which is only a week away. I find that kind of shocking that they're moving that quickly. I won't hold my breath. Maybe it'll dip into October, but even so, the fact that they're wanting to move this quickly is kind of impressive. So it's cool to see, and that's great that you got the 20% bonus. I still think like if you waited because you were nervous, 20% isn't a huge amount, so I wouldn't feel too bad about it. And you still can get the 1-to-1 from Amex membership rewards points if you move them now, if you have a good use for Alaska Airlines. I think that still makes sense. Like if Alaska was a partner to membership rewards, don't you think it would be one of the bigger partners, that people use to make transfers often?
Yeah, and de facto, at least as long as this goes on, and it may go on forever because they do say they're going to run the airlines separately. For now, I mean, Alaska is a de facto transfer partner of American Express, as you say. So it is very interesting. I needed Alaska miles. I use them a lot. So I was happy to get the 20% bonus. So it worked out well for me. But you make a great point. Now people can look at Alaska as a 1-to-1 transfer partner. A couple other rules the DOT implemented was that the mileage in the current programs cannot expire. So if you had a balance going into this merger, those miles are not going to be allowed to expire. And I wonder how that works with the transfers back and forth. And then also they have to maintain the value of the miles for a certain period of time. So no huge devaluation. So it does seem like the government tried to protect consumers. Doesn't mean long term that things aren't going to change, but the programs that you know and love for now are kind of staying the same.
Yeah, I think we're about a year out from the last Alaska devaluation, so this was probably about the time it would hit. So maybe this merger delays it. Maybe it comes twice as hard in a year whenever this temporary ban of devaluation is set up. I don't think we know an exact amount of time for that, but the fact that you get a little bit of leeway is nice, and you can use these miles. You can transfer, and actually, being able to transfer membership rewards to Hawaiian, to Alaska, lets you kind of hold on to them for a bit and only do it when you know you have a booking coming up instead of doing a speculative transfer that you could move over there and then, oh crap, I haven't been able to use my Alaska miles for a year, what a waste this was. You can sit on the sidelines for a bit, and that's what I would encourage you to do unless you're a heavy user like a Sean or somebody living on the West Coast.
Good advice there for sure. Alaska's the little airline that could. Remember, they were sort of getting squeezed out as all of these mergers happened and they weren't able to compete. They bought Virgin America and sort of gobbled them up. And then, this merger. And so they're just becoming slowly a big airline to compete with the other big airlines. They're not still the size of an American or United, but this is a mighty airline starting in, humble Alaska and now one of the bigger airlines in the entire country.
Yeah, I thought a good pairing up would have been JetBlue and Alaska. I think that those two would have been amazing together.
Well, let's talk about JetBlue because JetBlue is in the middle of their transition too as they become a mainline carrier. They started their Mint service to Europe, or I guess just flying to Europe. And one of the things that they need is airport lounges. So they announced this week new lounges coming to JFK and Boston Logan Airport. And they look nice, Mark, except for the fact that I couldn't find any concept art.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds good. I mean, anytime we add more lounges, it's better because we're still running into an issue with overcrowding. I tried to go into one of the Delta lounges in Detroit just Thursday night, the newest one, and they said that's all full, but the old big one is vacant and stuff. So, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. They're right across the aisle from each other, but still, like you're still witnessing that elsewhere where there's lines to get in. So when you're adding those JetBlue customers, maybe they were going to a Centurion Lounge or something else, and now they can go to JetBlue, and it frees up space at the other places. So that helps out. But call me a cynic. I think this is all just to sell a credit card that they want to have come out.
And there's the big news, because they said that access to these lounges will be for a few people. People flying transatlantic in Mint makes sense. Also, their Mosaic Level 4 members makes sense. Well, I mean, I don't know if it makes sense because other airlines sell that sort of access, but they will be able to get it. And then the holders of their new premium credit card that we don't know what it is. It hasn't been released yet, but they're coming with one.
Yeah, and I know our buddy Joe already loves the credit card they do have because you can spend your way into Mosaic status. So maybe you can still do it that way versus paying this high annual fee. But I'm sure that it will be a somewhat popular card to people that live in the Boston or New York area and that fly JetBlue quite a bit, because it's going to be the only way to get access. Like, you can't get in there through Priority Pass or anything else. So unless you are a frequent flyer, that's what you got to do.
So speaking of frequent flyers, you went down to San Diego this last weekend to do the Top Gun experience and to go to the bar, and I saw some pictures of it. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, so if anybody that's watched Top Gun Maverick, the bar that they hang out at, where he puts his phone down on the bar top and gets charged for the whole around for the whole bar, and they run up the tab on him. That's based off of an actual bar on the base in Coronado called the I Bar. It's like a officer's bar. And for the movie, they built one on the beach. I think it's called Breakers Beach right there on base. They built a bar like within a month and did it all up. So it's not quite the same. It's not right on the beach. It's not anywhere near as big as that place is. I wish they would have left that one up too, because it looked awesome. But if you have somebody that can get on base, I had a retire Army person with me that she was an officer in the Army, and we got on base and went and hung out at the bar, and it was an amazing experience, even better than I thought, and I had high hopes.
Yeah, it looked like you had a great time. Was it the atmosphere you expected? Was it all like spectacle and all the officers and everything being crazy, or what?
Yeah, I mean, there was quite a few pilots in there. There was also some DEA agents that were doing some training on base and stuff. So you had like a mix of people across the spectrum. And then there was a VIP, somebody higher ranking official in the government, actually walked in while we were there and bought everybody around a cheer. And one of the DEA guys walked in with his hat on. So they rang the bell like immediately. They're very quick on this. Ring the bell. They have to buy everybody around a cheer. They hand out these tokens. I ended up keeping a couple tokens as keepsakes, but it cost him $300. My friend, she set her phone down on the bar. She got hit up for $300, and then she did it again later, like 2 hours later. Luckily, I had cleared out a little bit, so I think it was closer to $200. Another young kid walked in like full uniform with the little sailor's hat on, and they rang the bell. He was by the popcorn machine, and he looked back, took his hat off, and ran outside.
That's too much money. That's a little rich for my blood. So you avoided having to buy everybody a drink? You didn't make any mistakes, huh?
And the funny thing is, I told my wife before I went, I was like, if we get in there early and there's like 8 or 10 people, I'm going to put my phone down just to have the story. And when they first rang the bell, we looked, and it was like right in front of me. I looked down, I saw the phone on the bar, and I was like, oh crap, is that my phone? And I'm feeling my pockets. And luckily I felt my phone, and I looked over, and my friend, she looks down, she's like, oh no, like that's my phone.
So did you do anything else in San Diego?
We went to Tacos El Gordo, which is a very, big spot in Las Vegas. Similar setup. You walk in, like they have the signs, and you get in line depending on which type of taco you want to get. Just way smaller, way less chaotic, way less drunk people. But yeah, I think that was the original location. Really great tacos, pretty amazing. So we got to experience that, and then just kind of hung out around Coronado and around downtown.
San Diego is such an underrated city. It's beautiful. Weather's great. Lots to do. Great food. I highly recommend it. I go down there usually about once a year, thankfully, because geographically it's close to me. But I love San Diego. And Coronado is so cool. Hotel Coronado. Yeah, there's so much neat stuff down there.
Yeah, I think San Diego is probably my favorite place I've been in California. Like you said, weather all year round, about the same weather. Never gets too hot. Occasionally, you'll see spikes here and there, but not too humid. Just perfect, beach weather, but not like that you're going to burn while you're laying out there. Santa Monica is another great area, but I probably like San Diego a little bit better.
So let's move on to credit card news. And there's several new offers, including the Southwest personal cards. You have 85,000 mile offer after 3,000 in spend. And we're getting to that time of year where people should be strategic in their Southwest credit cards because of the companion pass and how they can earn that.
Yeah, you want to earn it as early in the calendar year as possible. So the trick is to like sign up for the card this year, but not complete the minimum spend until the beginning of next year. So you want it to like kind of close in January or February, and then you get that bonus to hit, and then maybe you grab a business card right after that, and then you can get your companion pass for the rest of that year plus the next year. So you get it for almost 2 years. So we're a little bit, far away. You get 3 months to do it. If you signed up now, that would end in December. I mean, technically, you could make that work because if your statement cuts before the end of that date, it actually rolls over to the next year. But it's best just to wait until like October and give yourself that leeway that you can finish it up in January.
And that's because the way the companion pass works is you get it for the entire year, you earn it plus the entire next year. So if you get those points in January, you earn it next year in 2025, then you get it through 26. So that's why you want to do that. As Mark said, wait till October-ish. Just make sure you do your spending at the end too, because even if you get it in October, if you do all your 3,000 in spending on the personal card, let's say before, January, then it's going to hit then. So just time everything right. Make sure it hits in January on your last statement. Make sure you do everything within the appropriate time to get the welcome offer. The business card also 80K after 5K spend. Plenty of options going in. If you want to be strategic to get that companion pass for the next 2 years, this is the time to do it. Very exciting for many people in the hobby.
Yeah, one more thing I'll say is if you're doing it and you're trying to time it for next year, don't get like close. Like a lot of people try to get within $100 or $50 or whatever. Leave yourself a bit of a gap. A lot of people are bad at math and they mess up on that and they end up overspending and triggering the bonus and it screws up the whole thing. So definitely like give yourself some breathing room there.
It's funny. I've been doing this for 12 years now, professionally, full time, and people have been saying Southwest was going to get rid of the companion pass ever since I started. And this is the perk that just keeps on giving.
Yeah, everybody. Oh, the sign up bonuses aren't going to count anymore. You watch. This is it. Yeah, we've been hearing it forever.
So Hilton also increased offers on some of their cards. The Surpass has a 165K offer after 3,000 in spend. The no fee card, 100,000 Hilton Honors points after 2K in spend. Remind me, how are these different than in the last window? About the same?
Yeah, I think they're, about the same as they've been. Maybe there was like a free night cert thrown in there too. So it's pretty decent. But the weird thing is that these say they're not going to end until January of next year. So this is going to be a long-term limited time offer. This is where it's going to be for a while. So if you're looking at either of these two cards, you're kind of stuck with this offer for a bit. I will say I think Surpass is the best of all the Hilton cards. You can still earn the free night certificate after 15K in spend. I think it's better than the Aspire, even though everybody loves the Aspire. The annual fee is manageable. You get credits that cover it, and it's got good earning capabilities in gas, grocery, dining, all the big spend areas. So if you're going to carry one Hilton card long term, I think that's the one.
And the nice thing about American Express with the Surpass, the Aspire, is you can upgrade and downgrade between them. So if you do get the Surpass, you feel like you need the extra benefits or you want that bigger cert or the diamond status or whatever that comes with the Aspire, you can always upgrade. And then when you don't need that stuff anymore, you could always downgrade and they prorate your annual fee, stuff like that. Lots of strategy, I guess, going into upgrading and downgrading American Express cards among a certain percentage of people in this hobby.
Yeah, just be sure that you've had the card before you take an upgrade or downgrade offer, because once you hold a card at all with American Express, you're out of the bonus. But even if you don't get a bonus on the card, that's the way they work. So they're a bit weird there. But yeah, you can get upgrade offers even with points. Some people do it just to get the perks and they downgrade again, but there's often times where you'll get targeted with some bonus points. So lots of fun you can have with those.
And sometimes when you downgrade, the perks sort of stick around, or, it's always fun stuff with American Express. One last thing, the Marriott Bonvoy Business Card, 5 free night offer after 8,000 in spend in the first 6 months. That has a $125 annual fee. We've talked about the 5 free night offers, and I think that they're pretty good. I don't think you think they're as good as I do. Obviously, you have the pitfalls of those certificates expiring, so that's always something to watch out for.
Yeah, I think if you have like a property in mind that you could use them at that kind of matches up, then I think it's great and it's super valuable, especially if you can top them off with the 15K, gives you access to a couple more locations. The one downside is if you do use them all in one 5-night stay, you don't get that fifth night free like you could with points. So that's the negative there. But I think it has value. Just don't sign up because it has value and have no plan for it is the only thing I say.
Once upon a time, there was this scrappy little airline called U.S. Airways. I don't know if they were scrappy or little. They actually bought a company called American Airlines and then took their name And what happened as part of that is you ended up with two different credit card providers. US Airways had Barclays and American Airlines had Citi. And despite the fact that Citi wanted to get exclusive back then, they couldn't work out a deal. And so since then, we've had both credit card providers, and there's rules as to where they can market. Like Barclays can market in the air and in the airport, Citi other places. And there's all these kind of weird things going on. But apparently Citi wants to get this business for themselves, and they're trying to negotiate to do that right now, leaving Barclays out in the dust.
Yeah, and Barclays it's weird. They can only do it on the airline or at the airport or not within 100 feet of an American Airlines lounge. So it's like, okay, you don't really get much of anything. You're not going to get a ton of signups from that. You can't market it anywhere else. So I guess they get to keep their catalog of cardholders that they've had from US Airways Day, plus whatever they added. Maybe those signups kind of, any deflectors they have or closures kind of refill those because so they've been just kind of hanging out where they're at. But I don't know, like, do they still value that? Are they getting enough spend from it? Those cards aren't the best for spending. The bonus is after one purchase, so it's not like you're even getting the spend from there. It's just such a weird setup. It makes a lot of sense for Citi to have it all. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. Are they willing to pay what American Airlines wants for their miles? And that was the balking point last time around. They didn't want to, pay it, and then will we get it as a thank you points transfer partner? That would be amazing.
It would be, but I think the moral of this story is that American Airlines is going to get a big payday. We've seen these airlines, they're getting paid a lot from these banks. This is huge money. And Citi has a lot of data with this partnership to say, oh, this is going really well with us. Barclays sort of, I mean, they're just sort of hiding away with this partnership because they're so prohibited in certain areas from doing, their marketing. Unless you see them in the airport, you don't see it as much. So it'll be interesting to see. I have to think that Citi is going to find a way to make this happen. Although we thought that was the case last time and Barclays kept their contract. And maybe it's good to have two co-branded partners.
Yeah, I mean, more options is always good for us, the consumer. And then the question is, if Citi does take over, do they just take over going forward? Are they going to buy the book of cardholders from Barclays? Will Barclays keep servicing those? Or will they just shut them down, kind of like Bill did to the original cardholders, where they're like, hey, your card's going away. We're going to give you this Barclays card, or maybe we're not going to give you anything. So it'll be interesting to see. But Barclays has said they want to get away from the co-branded airline space, which they have a couple other partners too, and focus more on stores and stuff. Maybe they see higher delinquent levels there or higher late payments and all these fees they can charge there versus airline customers. I don't know.
So now for a couple quick stories, starting with the Southwest Companion Pass. We talked about the credit card offers, how you get it. Well, one of the bad quirks over the years, and this is Southwest technology, you haven't been able to change your companion online. You're able to change your companion up to 3 times, but before you had to call in to do it, which kind of stunk. And now you can do it online, and it looks super simple. You have an article laying it all out there.
Yeah, I don't know why it took this long to get there. You could always pick your first companion online, so it seemed like shouldn't be that hard to make it so you can change it, but you can now do it online. It tells you how many you have left for the year. Now, if you do any of those, like fly once during this period, get a companion pass for a month and a half during this period type promotions, that counts against you. So let's say you do that at the beginning of next year and then earn your companion pass a little bit longer. You made a couple switches during that time. It's tracked between all the companion passes you have over the 12-month period. So just be cautious of that.
Another interesting thing is Starbucks and Marriott partnering up, and they're offering 1,000 points if you link your accounts, which is kind of cool. 1,000 Bonvoy points, certainly should do that. And they're also offering points transfers. So 10 Marriott Bonvoy points equals 1 Starbucks star. Now, Starbucks stars are a little bit weird. They start redemptions at 50 stars, but really to get a free drink, you're at 100 stars, a premium drink, 200 stars. And I don't know that the math works out well, but if you're somebody who had a few Marriott points and no real use for them, this could be a way to cash them in.
Yeah, that's me. I have like 1,800 Marriott points. I don't have any Marriott cards, don't plan on getting any, so I can't really earn them. I'm not planning on earning them anytime soon. I wouldn't mind having a little stash of them, but I never really look at it. They're never the best price for the most part when I'm searching things, so I'm not too worried about it. So I could move those over to Starbucks, at least get something for them versus the 1,800 just sitting in there. And yeah, Starbucks points are worth like 4 to 6 cents per point. So when you're talking 10-to-1 ratio, that's like on average around a half a cent a point, which is a little bit below what you would get for Marriott at hotels on average, probably 7/10 of a cent, 8/10 of a cent, somewhere in that range. So not the best. You're not getting value. You're not getting plus value on that. But if you have points there, then you can get them out. It's just such a weird partnership. I wouldn't think that we'd be able to transfer hotel points to a coffee company.
I should flex right now. I just got a 12 cent per star redemption at Starbucks this weekend. It was a
There you
Starbucks
go.
in a casino. And this is what I saved them for, those more expensive Starbucks locations. And then when you redeem the 100 stars, I got an iced coffee. It allows you to add espresso and extras. So I added a bunch of stuff up to $12, got my redemption. Another way to look at this is you're getting 100 stars for linking the accounts. If you get 1,000 Bonvoy points, 100 stars, a free drink just for linking them. So even if you did nothing else, you could grab that.
Yeah, and I think that's the key you pointed out there. If you're using these, get the biggest size. Only use them when you're getting the largest size of the drink, and then add in all the extras that you want because that's included in the price. So if you just get like a regular coffee, it's like $5. But if you get the large coffee with all this stuff added to it, then you're pushing like double that. So that's where the value is. Wait until you have a drink like that, and then use them.
And now time for some cool S. Hey, Mark, somewhere in the comments, I don't remember I think it was on MTM Vegas, somebody used the cool S verbiage, and I loved it. I just absolutely loved it. It's catching on.
Yeah. Have you made the thing yet? Or pop up cool and now coolest.
I'm working on it. But let's talk about China and this suspended soccer field. This looks strange. And, I've seen a lot of strange stuff in China and, safety stuff a little bit different than we would do here. But this is basically a giant net that's strung out in a canyon, 200 meters above the ground. And I mean, it does have soccer cutouts, but I don't think playing soccer on this really would work very well because it's not flat or anything like that. But I don't see like huge side nets. There's those orange nets on the side, I guess would hold people in. It is double netted. So if one of the nets failed, there's another net behind it. But yeah, this looks kind of scary and fun. And dare I say I would do it?
I would not. I mean, we've talked about this in the past on other things, like some of the theme parks and how they don't have the same, inspections that we're used to here. And you just assume, or bungee jumping, you just assume that like everything is going to work out. And it probably will, for the most part. But yeah, that's a bit much. And seeing the kids on there, it's kind of great. It blows my mind. Yeah, you can't play soccer. It's set up like a soccer field. You could probably kick a ball and stuff, but you're falling all over the place. It's shaky. It's not the firmest of things, but yeah, that'd be freaky.
It's just like a giant suspension bridge. I mean, when you shake those bridges, and I don't know, I love the spectacle of it.
Yeah, it's cool to look at from afar. I just don't need to be. The problem is if you get in the middle of it, it's going to take you a while to get back off if something goes wrong. So that's what I don't love about it. And there's a lot of people on it at one time. Yeah, that's a pass for me.
It is more than 200 meters long, so you could just hold on. If it breaks on one side, just hold on and climb down because it'll go reach the ground, right? That's my strategy. I'll have enough strength for that.
If you don't smack into the wall and die on impact, yeah, it'll work. It'll work great.
So our cool S turns dark, but I think it looks cool. So
Per usual.
let us know in let us know in the comments what you guys think about it. Marriott to Starbucks, all the credit card offers, Mark's trip to the Top Gun bar, San Diego, everything else. Leave a comment. We do a new show every Wednesday. Last week it was Saturday because of some technical issues. Sorry about that. But thanks so much for watching, for sticking with us, for commenting, subscribing, liking the videos. We really appreciate it. Talk to you guys next time.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good week.